There we go. And Judy, I'm going to hand over to you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes? Good morning. Wonderful to be with you all. And after I've done this little talk, I'd like to invite you all to come up with your things you remember about Jubilee or maybe coronation, and let's have a look at it together. Well, what does Jubilee mean? Well, as far as we're concerned, of course, the Queen we know is the longest reigning British monarch. Victoria comes after her, but the Queen has hit the 70 celebration. So this is the longest ever in our history. Now, when she first celebrated it, this is her when she celebrated it very privately. I know we're doing it this weekend, but in February she hit the milestone. And she took over from her father, of course, King George. And of course, he died very early at 56. And of course, this is the reason, I think, why we of course have such a long reign. And there she is there smiling, as you can say. And on this anniversary, she actually pledged again that my whole life will be devoted to service. And of course, this is what we've seen, isn't it? It's her whole life has been one of service. And she has this wonderful smile. You look at her there, I mean, amazing. And of course, what is a Jubilee? Well, a Jubilee is a milestone. It's an anniversary in the kind of British monarchs, from the British monarch's coronation. And it starts really with 25 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 65 years and 70 years. And usually the idea is to have a celebration on those years. Now, if we look back in history, the first one is this. And look at this. This looks chaotic. This is the Golden Jubilee of George III in 1809. So there's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of hats being thrown in the air, but it was, and there are some fireworks in the background. So that's the first ever one that we held. And then the next one, of course, is the Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee, and that was in 1887. And that again is a procession. Look at all the flags, look at all the people. And it was horse-drawn carriages like today. And there she is. There's Queen Victoria. And that is the Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee. Look how drab Buckingham Palace looked then, dear me. But anyway, but look at the people on the roof. That wouldn't be allowed today. But there you've got Buckingham Palace. You've still got the balcony, but and you've got the procession coming out. Now, Queen Victoria was not too well at that time. And in fact, there she is there in her carriage. And that actually is St. Paul's. And it's very interesting that because she couldn't walk up the steps, they held the service outside. And all the clergy, all the people came out and they held the service on the steps. Now, you think this morning the Queen is not attending St. Paul's, but they won't be holding it on the steps. It will be inside. But and I understand the Queen, if she had gone this morning, wouldn't have gone up the steps. She would have gone on in through a private entrance and would not have had to use the steps. But that is 1897. So that is another Jubilee we have, and that's the Diamond Jubilee. And one thing Victoria did was to plant trees. And it's very interesting, actually, that our Queen has copied her, has followed her, and she has planted a tree for the Jubilee initiative. That's what's happening all over the country. And of course, you may have seen it on the television. There is this huge tree, well, it's lots of trees outside Buckingham Palace this weekend, and I understand that after this weekend all those trees will be taken all over the country and will be planted. So tree planting and jubilees seem to go together, and there's the Queen planting one of the trees we see this year. The next Jubilee is George V and Queen Mary, and this is their Silver Jubilee. And it's interesting because the Queen, our Queen, was there. There she is, look, with her parents in the royal carriage. She was 9. She was 9 at that time, and she attended and went to some St. Paul's, because they always use St. Paul's for jubilees. One of the reasons is you can get more people in St. Paul's than Westminster Abbey, but it's always used. And then, of course, afterwards they went onto the balcony, and here they are on the balcony. Now, we saw that yesterday, didn't we? The royal family on the balcony. Now, there's Elizabeth, aged 9. Her sister, it's a shame, they could have given her a box to stand on, because there's Margaret next to her, but you can only see the top of her head because she's very small. But Elizabeth was very, very close to both George V and to Queen Mary. And she actually called him Grandpa England. And after his death, she wrote many, many letters to Queen Mary, and we have them today. They're in the Royal Archive. And it's very interesting that it's George V that gave Elizabeth her nickname, Lilibet. It is the king that gave her this special nickname that was her family name. And there's the balcony, look, they're all on the balcony there. We can see them. And there's Queen Elizabeth there waving in the middle. There she is there. And there she's, I don't know what she's looking at then, but she's bobbing down, trying to see something. We can see with her mother and her father behind her. And that is the Silver Jubilee. Now, what about our own Queen? Well, my goodness, how many Jubilees has she had? Well, the silver, the gold, the diamond, and now the platinum. So what a history. So let's start by going back to 1977. And this was the Queen's Silver Jubilee. And again, there were lots of street parties, a service, there's the service there with Prince Philip in St. Paul's. And of course, as you know, the Queen's deeply religious, and her faith means so much to her. And there you can see her there with her own children behind. And there they are on the balcony waving afterwards. There's Lord Mountbatten there. And of course, the procession, and there they are in the royal coach. Of course, we didn't see that yesterday. She didn't process. She just was on the balcony. And what she did in this Jubilee, she went on a lot of walkabouts, and it was quite unusual to see the Queen walking around with the crowds and so on. It was very much her wish to be with the people, and this is what she did. And I think we'll see that sentiment this weekend as well. She wants everybody to enjoy, come together and celebrate. Then we come to her Golden Jubilee. Now, this is her in the gold coach and Prince Philip. Now, that is not being used this weekend. Well, the Queen wasn't going to be in it anyway. It's very, very heavy, very, very cumbersome, and it goes very, very slowly. And I understand it's really very, very uncomfortable. And so it wasn't going to be used. It was built as long ago as 1760, and it is so heavy. And of course, it's used in every coronation, and it is reserved for the sovereign. And I think the royal coach is coming out this weekend, but I think there's going to be like a hologram of the Queen inside it, because she's, you know, her age, she's too elderly to go in this kind of bumpy heavyweight coach. It is meant to be horrendous. I think they've tried to give it new springs, but they can't do much with it because it's so heavy. There she is there. That's the Golden Jubilee. All the flags. And look, you can see the Canadian flags, all these flags. And there they are there. Philip and Elizabeth. And then we come to her 60-year Jubilee. And still very much involved. Now, I don't know if, I'm sure you remember this, it was very, very wet. They had this river pageant and it did nothing but rain. Thank goodness we haven't had the rain yet. I think Sunday's meant to be wet, but anyway, we'll wait and see. But this was a river pageant, an amazing river pageant, but it was really cold. It was such a shame, but there they are. There's some of the royal family there, William, Harry, Kate, this is Camilla, and so on. And there they are. This is the Diamond Jubilee in 2012. And there's the Queen on the balcony, always smiling, always looking so immaculate. She always says actually that she dresses to understand me. I've got to be seen. For people to know who I am, I've got to be seen. And she always coordinates her clothes so well and dresses so brightly so people can always notice her, can always see her as such. And there they are. And sadly, you'll notice that Prince Philip is missing that. Well, of course, he was taken ill and he couldn't attend the balcony scene. So there they are there. And it's interesting, isn't it? You've got the Queen, the next king, and the next king on the balcony there. And then we forget this one actually, but there was a sapphire Jubilee, 65 years, but the Queen did not really celebrate it as today. It was celebrated quite quietly. It was very low key, no grand parties, no great processions. What the Queen did was to go to a special church service near Sandringham in the church there. And we will see there was some dinners, but that's all there was. It was a very quiet celebration. I don't think Prince Philip was that well actually, and I think maybe that was one of the reasons for it. There she is there. And the Queen's jewelry is always very significant. And you can see you have this beautiful sapphire that she's wearing here. And this was a present actually from, we will see, from the Duke of Edinburgh on their marriage. And it's a brooch she does wear a great deal. And her jewelry always matches the occasion. We see that. There she is there. And that's her at Sandringham, when she went to Sandringham on her 65-year Jubilee. Again, another royal walkabout. Again, bright hat, bright coats, you know. And then we come to this weekend and we come to her 70th Platinum Jubilee. And that's the official picture that was taken with her two great horses, Shire horses there. And again, as I said, you've got this planting of trees. 1 million new trees have actually been planted in her honor. And the Queen is very much looking forward, I think, this weekend to the future generations for them to enjoy them. I think it's a time of looking back, but also a time of looking forward. Now, these are the royal stamps. You may have seen these. This is an amazing selection of stamps. These stamps are to signify great steps through her life. I think they're a beautiful selection of stamps. I know the stamp designer actually who did these stamps, and it's taken a long time for her to choose the pictures she really liked of the Queen. What happened then? They were actually then sent to the palace. The Queen looked at all these stamps and had to approve them and say if she liked them, if she was happy that they would be used. And Kate Stevens, the lady that did this stamp collection, tried to choose different things that showed different things in the people's lives, whether it was in the Commonwealth, the Garter ceremony, or so on. It was a great selection, and I think the stamp, the first stamp for 220 is a beautiful stamp. I think it's lovely, actually, a lovely stamp. But yes, Kate Stevens has designed these, and they took a long time to get it perfectly correct. And the Queen, I understand, was very pleased with the selection. And of course, Jubilees, well, have flyovers. We had one yesterday. Very much look at the crowds that we see there. It's incredible, people wanting to come out and say thank you to the Queen. We have the fireworks and we have the flags, and London is covered in flags. I mean, everywhere. This is Covent Garden, but everywhere you see lots of flags. I mean, lots of railings going up, but it's a very buzzy at the moment. And this year, what they have done, it's quite interesting actually, because the Queen is very fond, as you know, of corgis and has always had corgis. There are 18 corgis over London, and I understand there is a corgi map, and you can go round and find all the corgis. Well, I only found one, and this is the pink corgi that I actually found. I do have a corgi here today, actually, so here's my corgi today. But I'll tell you a little story. When I was quite young, we had a corgi, and my mother was somewhere wanting to go and see the Queen, and I think she was a bit late and missed it. But she was there with our corgi on a lead, and the Queen's car swept round. The Queen's car slowed down. The Queen looked at the corgi, and I understand looked up at my mother and waved. So that was my mother's claim to fame. But I think it was the corgi that actually caught the Queen's attention. So that's the corgi. Anyway, look at that. That's great, isn't it? I think that's lovely. That's lovely. And so what we have seen actually is that, well, 10 years ago, the Queen, when she marked her Diamond Jubilee at 86, she was carrying out a full program of engagements. Well, she's 96, and we all know as you get older, we can't expect her to do the same, to make the speeches, to change 4 times a day, to remember everybody's name. She does so much homework, finding out who she's meeting and so on. And so what we will see is, we know she's used video call a lot, but she's had to scale back. I mean, she did go to the Royal Windsor Horse Show, and this is her going to that. She also went, and that's the horse show as well. And she's with Prince Edward there. And she did go to Chelsea, but she did go in a buggy, and it's the first time we've seen the Queen in a buggy. And thank goodness she took the buggy, because she could never have walked around Chelsea, but there she is in her buggy there. And then this is yesterday, and wasn't she enjoying herself? She looked so happy, and I think it was, she was determined to make these appearances, which she did. And I think we'll have to say, thank you. What a life of service she has given us. So a big thank you to the Queen. And we say, thank you that we're now celebrating this Platinum Jubilee. Now, what I'd like to do is come back to you now and open it up to you with your memories and stories.
That was fantastic, Judy. Absolutely brilliant. I love that. And I've recorded this. So please, 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 if you want to share it with family, friends, I know my daughters will love that. So I'm actually going to show that to them again, Judy. That was so interesting. And I love it. I love history. So it's right up my street. Has
Good.
anybody got anything they'd like to share? Any memories of any of the Jubilees that they've attended? Anything like that? You might have been in the armed forces at one point and you'd like to share a bit about that, what that looked like. Just, you can unmute yourself and you can kind of chime in and let us know what any thoughts that you have, reflections, anything that you'd like to share, any residents that'd like to share something, because I'm pretty sure that the residents that are watching have probably got a story or two to tell us about something that they've kind of been involved in, anything like that. Any ideas? I'll give you a second just to kind of have a think. I was telling Judy before we came on the call, I went to London on Wednesday with my girls and took them down to Buckingham Palace, and perfect words, you hit it, the nail on the head, was busy, extremely busy, and you touched on it as well. There was lots of nationalities there camping out with tents, the flags adorned on the tents so we knew where they were from, and like you say, there was American flags, there was Indonesia. We were trying to spot as many flags as we could, myself and the girls, and it was just very busy. It felt very exciting, and it is exciting. So I don't think we're going to see something like this in a hurry again.
No, I think the sentiment of thank you is very much here actually this year. This is we've never seen it in a Jubilee like this before. I think all the Jubilees I remember, it's not actually thanking the Queen, but this year people are really showing their thanks very much. Yeah. What an amazing woman, and what an amazing reign that's held the country together so well for so long. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I think they were talking yesterday online, and I think what makes the Queen so wonderful and exceptional is that she's above politics and opinions and things like that. So she's constant. She's that constant kind of focus that we can always look to, we can always depend upon. And that must be really hard to have that constant, steely kind of focus to be able to lead us, guide us, give us kind of that inspirational kind of, someone to lead us is the best way to describe that. But
she's also she has a great sense of humor that you don't often see. I mean, there's a wonderful story that there was something going on at the palace and somebody's phone went, and they were just being introduced to her and they quickly turned it off. And she turned and said, "Oh, I do hope that wasn't too important."
Yes, that's what I mean. And what was it they said yesterday as well? They said she takes the job very seriously, but doesn't take herself too seriously.
No,
I think that kind of sums her up.
Incredibly so.
Doesn't take herself too seriously, but
and her religion is sadly she can't be there today, but her religion is very, very important to her, as you will all know, and it's very much, she does so much homework on everybody before she meets them. It's a hugely onerous job for somebody of 96. I think we've got to accept that we can't expect her to go on as she's gone on. Really for 60 years. It's in the last 10 years she's starting to scale back. So it's a thank you to her.
She has to be careful because she wants to be able to attend. She wants to be able to attend everything ideally, but she needs to be realistic to the fact that
she can't.
She's not able to do that, and that's okay. And we all, as you say, we're happy to accept that. We're just grateful to see her. And like yesterday, that picture on the balcony is absolute gold dust. Seeing her with that smile on her face.
Yes, that's exactly right.
She looked very happy, and it was lovely to see everyone tying in the red, white, and blue as well. The children were in the red, white, and the blue and white. And
lovely. It was lovely to see, actually.
So nice to see.
So, any memories, anybody?
Any memories?
All very quiet.
All very quiet. Maybe I think they're enraptured by the chat. Judy, I think that absolutely. Any memories of any kind of jubilees or the
Well,
Queen?
on Sunday, I'm going to look at her 70-year reign. So it's slightly different on Sunday. It will be looking at her 70 years, her family, her background, everything actually on Sunday.
Oh, I'm going to tune into that one as well, Judy. I'm going to definitely tune into that one. Yeah, I'll give it a few more seconds just in case anyone's got any kind of anything they want to share, anything they want, any reflections, any kind of. But like you say, we've got a full program on Sunday, which kicks off at 11 a.m. I believe.
I think so.
11 a.m.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
If you haven't signed up for it yet, please go on to Eventbrite, and you can sign up still. So there's still time. Don't worry, there's still plenty of time, and the code will be sent to you via email. So once you sign up on Eventbrite, so you should have had an email through from Together With Music with details of how to sign up for it. So, and if you haven't, please email hello@togetherwithmusic.org.uk and we can set you up, we can hook you up and make sure that you've got all the codes that you need so that you don't miss out on our extravaganza bumper session on Sunday. We've got music, we've got opera singers, we've got a British sing-along, which I did myself, we've got lots of classics. We've got Dr. Judy coming back to give us another wonderful kind of insight to the Queen's 70-year reign. So it's not to be missed, and it's something that everyone can enjoy. You can put on in the lounge or wherever it is and enjoy together. I think that everyone's enjoyed it so much that they're a bit tongue-tied, Judy.
All right.
So I think we'll wrap it up at that.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Judy.
No.
Really enjoyed that. I thought it was fantastic.
And all enjoy your day. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. I think that's the key, actually.
We will enjoy it. And thank you, Queen Elizabeth, for providing us with such a wonderful kind of subject on this matter.
And let's hope the sun keeps shining.
Fingers crossed, Judy. Fingers crossed. Enjoy the Jubilee,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye now. Bye.
Take care.